Hey, Mum. Hi, Ruthie. Please. All right, well, today I'm going to speak about clouds. Yeah, wow. That's cool. Okay. When I asked the Lord under my breath when we first did this, when we first had the assignment introduced, I was like, Lord, what do you want me to speak on? He was like, really clear, clouds. I have like a really playful history with the Lord with clouds, and doing this assignment helped me to understand that they mean so much more than that. I have, since a child, I've always loved a cloudy day. A day with clouds is better than a cloudless day, in my opinion. I just think they're great, and even as an adult, I will happily at night sit in my hammock and ask the Lord to punch holes in the clouds so that I can see the stars. And I'm happy to report that he's humoured my silly little requests every time. But yeah, for me personally, clouds, just straight off the bat, will represent intimacy to me. But what I want to actually share is some of the things that I found out about clouds as well. So obviously, like a couple of initial thoughts, we all know we see clouds every day, they're around. We know that they move between the land and sky. They deliver saturating rain and provide shade. They're temporary, and they will always dissipate. Clouds herald weather patterns, and they indicate tropo and stratospheric phenomena. Yeah, that one was for him. And they advise us as how to go about our day, like we'll dress according to what the clouds are saying. Thunderclouds will beckon children to come inside. Fog clouds will urge the traveller to slow down to a crawl. And we know that clouds interrupt routine. We, at the moment, can't go out to the beach because it's really rainy at the moment. I mean, you're welcome to, but power to you. On a bright day, they relieve our squinting eyes. They're really nice. When you've been squinting a lot, they're really cool to this skin. They bring shade to us, and yeah, they hang over low fields in the quiet early morning hours. But then they also stir over volcanoes. Yeah. Some clouds indicate and they relieve, and others pollute and poison. You can't catch a cloud, and you can't hold a cloud, but you could pass through a cloud and there's something on the other side. So clouds are first mentioned in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in the classic story of Noah. And we see here that the Lord sends the clouds to flood the earth. This is a sign of his judgment. The clouds themselves were not the flood, but they herald the coming judgment. When the floodwaters receded, the Lord spoke to Noah and his family, and he said, I confirm my covenant with you. Never again will all things be wiped out by waters of a flood. Never again will a flood destroy the earth. And then the Lord declares that a rainbow reminder of his guarantee will be found in the clouds. I will bring the clouds over the earth, and the rainbow appear. And whenever I bring the clouds over the earth, and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant. with not just with man, but with all living things, with all things on the earth. And when there is a rainbow in the clouds, I will notice it, and I will remember the perpetual covenant between God and all living things of all kinds that are on the earth. Here, we see clouds as a vehicle of God's judgment on the earth. Something that affects many, 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 many people. Another instance that we see of clouds in the Bible is when Elijah has just finished seeing to the execution of Baal's prophets in Kings, 1 Kings. Elijah is found crouching atop Mount Carmel, his head between his knees, and he tells his servant to go up and look in the direction of the sea. And he tells him to go 7 times. And it's not until the seventh time that the servant will come back with a report. The report is, I see a small cloud. This is how I picture him saying it. I see a tiny cloud. It's about the size of my palm, and it's over the water. Now, obviously, we're in the time of famine at this point in the Bible, as we learnt a few weeks ago. And Elijah has announced 3 years prior that there would be a famine, and that it would not break until his word. This famine would be a consequence of King Ahab's devotion to the idol of Baal. And his kingdom was dying. Baal's men had been defamed, and the king was hunting Elijah. And when this small cloud was forming, it wasn't a rain cloud. It was just a small cloud. But at that moment, we see that Elijah stands up, tells his servant to get going. You need to move now. And speaks to the king's servant, Obadiah, to get the king into his chariots as fast as you can. Get out of here, because there's going to be rain. And just as he says, a giant rain cloud comes. It's a huge storm, and he's telling people to move now, because in the places that they were in, the rains would make the places swell really quickly, and so they'd be trapped. The Lord in that moment, this is just a little weird thing that I thought was weird anyway, the Lord energized Elijah with the power to outrun the swelling of the waterways and Ahab's chariots. He beat Ahab to the destination. I saw the way that I saw that the cloud in this, it was again heralding the full stop, I suppose, to the Lord's judgment in that moment. We see here that clouds in these particular moments, they represent both the judgment and the nourishment of the Lord. Natural clouds are referenced many times in the Old Testament as signs to be considered regarding these things: judgment, nourishment, and mercy. Proverbs 16 speaks of the nourishing and delighted favor of the king as the clouds of the rain spring, ensuring the success and productivity of the people under him. In contrast, the Lord likens himself to a cloud of dew in the heat of the harvest in Isaiah 18, by way of judgment, because this particular heat would wither the fruit of the harvest. Also in Isaiah, and this is good news, the Lord declares his forgiveness and redemption over Israel. I have wiped out your transgressions like a thick cloud, and your sins like a heavy mist. Return to me, for I have redeemed you. The clouds of Israel's rebellion will be proved temporary and dissipated by the word of the Lord, so let it be. So yeah, we see there's judgment and there's nourishment. He is bringing the rain, breaking the famine. There's also the reason that the famine was there in the first place. But I believe that Israel has a really deep history with the concealment and revelation of God in clouds. Significantly, I'm talking about the cloud manifestation of the Shekinah glory, which is also manifest as the holy flame as well. Shekinah glory being the divine presence of God. In Exodus, we see the Israelites leave their Egyptian slavery to march through the wilderness, guided by the presence of the Lord, the pillar of cloud by day and the fire by night. And later, Moses meets his maker within the great thundering clouds atop Mount Sinai, receiving the law, whilst the rest of the Israelites wait cowering below. There's terror. These clouds, these supernatural clouds, induce terror. The tabernacle is filled with the Shekinah. The glory cloud of God is mysteriously shrouding the mercy seat of the inner sanctuary. Whoa, that went fast. This continues. The cloud appears when the Lord wants to speak to the people. Jesus has just been baptized, and the Father appears. His voice comes from the cloud. We see that he is concealed, while he himself, if we know that Jesus is also God, is being revealed in the flesh. There's a concealment of the Father and a revelation of the Son. When Peter, John, and James attend Jesus going up the mountain, they witness the transfiguration of Christ. And Peter, candidly, very rushedly, mentions maybe we should build a couple of tabernacles when he sees that Jesus is glowing and is accompanied by Moses and Elijah. And it's funny. His thinking is really overshadowed quite quickly when, again, the cloud is appearing and the voice of the Lord comes and kind of almost cuts him off the thought of building a tabernacle. But it's funny, when I was reading that part, I did think to myself, but tabernacles and clouds go together historically. So I did wonder, in Peter's defense, I know he missed the mark, but was it such a weird idea for him to mention maybe we should build some tabernacles? If we're seeing the cloud, then is it such a weird idea? We know that God had a better idea, and again, in that moment, this moment is a moment of revelation. The concealment again of the Father, but the revelation of the Son, who we believe to be God as well. So there you go. We also see clouds in Revelations. Revelations 1:7 says that Jesus will be returning on the clouds, riding them like chariots. And in this way, we will see what has been concealed. We will have the revelation of the one who has been concealed. The fullness of God. And he will be riding on judgment and mercy. And there is just one quick note, really quickly. I know I'm over time, but there's something really important to note, that concealment is not the same as withholding. That concealment for us is a mercy, and that we can see so clearly that there is nothing that the Lord has withheld from us. And we see that in Jesus. We see that in giving himself, in coming in and living life here, and in giving himself, and in the waiting for that time, for the fullness as well. He waits as well. So, yeah, there is nothing that he has withheld from us. Clouds are heralders. They are something to take notice of, because there's something that's going to come after them. And there you go.